Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So I'm actually very tired right now, but I guess I had a little spur of energy. I've been watching a really good film called Novecento, which stands for 1900 in Italian. It's a 5-hour long epic about the friendship of two friends that come of age. They're born in the year 1900. They come of age in Italy during, the post-war period. The rise of fascist Italy and stuff like that. It's a really, really good movie. Highly recommend you watch it. It's actually it's kind of disturbing though. It came out in the 70s. A lot of European films, especially that take place during that time, are really like graphic as far as like with violence and sexuality. So if you're privy to that and you don't want to get exposed to that, I'm just giving you a heads up. But it's a beautiful, beautiful story. Anyway, so let me go on. Actually, you know what? I might do a film reviews from now on. And that'll be the very first film I do. But anyway, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Like I said, I'm trying to do streams more. I actually have a surgery that's happening pretty soon. So when that surgery happens, I'm going to be stuck at home during the entire time recuperating. So if I'm able to be articulate, I'll do streams during that time just to kind of make up for lost time, if you will. But anyway, salutations. And this is going to be a video, and I'm not going to say an individual's name, but you already know I did a video earlier about said rapper, entertainer, whatever like that previously got big. And it really shows how disingenuous the entertainment industry is, because they love to say, oh, this is not meant for children, right? At the same time, like they're the same people that come up with action figures for the kids, dolls. Action figures and dolls obviously are things that predominantly are used by children, right? I mean, that's something else. Or they'll have award shows like Kids Choice Awards show. I mean, this goes back to freaking The Weeknd. How would The Weeknd winning Kids Choice Award for a song about doing cocaine? Yeah, I mean, and then gradually you've seen it, and like these people are actually, in my opinion, freaking evil people, bro. You got to be some kind of evil. Like if I was in this shoes, I was like, no, I'm gonna turn down that award. This is not a kid-friendly song. I don't even want to show up. I don't want you guys to play my song there. That's disgusting. You're like point blank, period. And anybody lets their kid listen to it, they always got a problem. Anybody that doesn't have the courage to say that says a lot about their character. Why? Because the almighty dollar rules their heart and their soul, right? And so recently, said rapper, he was responding to other critics that were critiquing his music and being like, oh, well, I never made music for kids. That's such garbage, because Old Town Road was such a catchy song. And you listen to the lyrics about slipping lean and stuff like that. This and that. He made a mention of that, but he loved the music industry. The predominantly like biggest purchasers of the consumers of music, honestly, are children with the age of the internet, like YouTube and stuff like that. They're the predominantly people that do that. They're the trendsetters. The youth of trendsetters, like we no longer live in a culture that cares about if the opinions of people above the age of 25 anymore, right? Any about 25 and older, the MTV like social media group, those are the trendsetters for popular culture, right? And that song was so trendsetty. Actually, my dad even played it at his wedding. Oh no, he played it at my sister's wedding. Sorry, but yeah, I mean, and then the whole family was there, right? Obviously, it was a family event, right? And that song was deemed appropriate to play at a wedding. So that tells a lot about our culture right now. And then, like, dude, I maybe nothing but bad news, but I really do think we're on a decay. Like, being super rebellious and hating your parents, not listening to your parents, not doing what your parents tell you to do is like all time thing. And I get it. If your parents are like being abusive to you, that's one thing. But like, being rebellious used to be a thing and kind of tongue in cheek, and it used to be kind of cute, but now it's just straight up like destroy your family. Like your family does not matter whatsoever. It's about what your needs are. And if you want to be dysfunctional, then so be it. Right. Another thing is the drug culture. The drug culture is out of hand. There's really no songs out there that are popular that don't overtly promote getting drunk or getting high, or having promiscuous, risky sex at the first opportunity. Like no self-control, no discipline whatsoever. And the biggest thing I got from this, right, is this is the state of the culture right now. And I've only unfortunately seen melanated people do this, in particular African Americans, and we need to call this out. We have gotten so far down the drain morality wise, where the whole quote "don't judge me" culture. No, hell no, I'm gonna judge you. Because I guarantee, as soon as somebody says something racist or somebody said they voted for Trump, you go out of your way to drag their name through the mud. If it's somebody that says something that you don't agree with, you drag their name through the mud. But when it's somebody that you like because you're infatuated with their music, which doesn't amount to crap, because you know what? So what? They're musically talented, but their morality is wrong, right? We should call it out. And you say the same thing. You say don't judge them. And it's some of these so-called people. This really shows that it's these fair weather people that identify as religious state. You'll say, "Oh, thank God this and thank God that." You need to keep God's name out of your mouth, because the way you've been living your life and the things that you stand for completely go against everything that you're like that you're supposed to stand up for. That you proclaim, right? You celebrate Christmas and you go to church, on Easter, and you say hallelujah every now and then. You get up and down and stuff like that, but you're literally, defending somebody who worships or is promoting their adversary. Oh, man. Bro, I got you on, man. Hey, alhamdulillah. Hey, bro. Hey, I'm going to put the link in the chat, bro. If anybody wants to come up, actually, come on up. But my fan, Baroque, man, I've been wanting to catch you on the stream, bro. Let me see. If you want to join, yeah, not judging is actually a judgment. Yeah, bro. And that's a culture, especially in the West, bro. There's this big culture of, oh, don't judge me, to excuse people doing wrong, and it's people that say that, it's like they know that they're doing something wrong. They know they're doing something wrong. They know that they're doing something that should be frowned upon, and they know that they're doing something that years later they're going to regret, right? But they say that as a cop-out because they're afraid to analyze their own behavior. And where we have a situation right now where the youth are being told to have no shame. No shame. And it's sick. I don't have any children, but I have a nephew, man. And I'm really sad that he's brought up in this era and that it's a monumental task to raise a child with any sense of morality now. Like, what's the point of telling your kid not to steal when all the role models are criminals? What's the point of telling your kid to stay sober when everybody's praising getting drunk and getting high? What's the reason to tell your kid not to have wild promiscuous sex with strangers when all their singers promoting it? Yeah, me supersedes even shame. Yeah. A hyper-individualistic culture breeds this dysfunction. A hyper-individualistic culture, I'll say it again, hyper-individualistic culture breeds this. The very thing that made the West what it is and garnered it so much power and its influence is the very thing that's destroying it from inside. And I think we're witnessing what happened to the Roman Empire. All the historians, like I lead around our history, and all the historians about the Roman Empire, one of the main things they said, which helped accelerate, not the main cause, but that accelerated the destruction of the Roman Empire, was corruption and immorality. Actually, Emperor Augustus actually made it against the law to have affairs. He was the first emperor to do that. Why? Because so many people were stepping out on their families, and there was so much hedonism. Even he was like, "Hey, we have to do something because it's going to destroy the family." Like Roman sexuality is destroying the family. That's from an emperor. That's from Emperor Augustus. Emperor Augustus was the most praised emperor in Roman history. He was the son, like the adopted son of Caesar, right? So that says everything. If he can say that and acknowledge that, what does it say about our society now? We don't value marriage. Marriage is just something that's cool, that has a label. It's a legal thing, but it has no actual moral or spiritual fabric to it. It means absolutely nothing to people today. You know what I mean? And so as people, man, don't fit in. I'm going to tell young people, man, if there's anybody young watching this, man, don't fit in. because doing the wrong thing is cool now. It used to be doing the right thing and standing up for morality, standing up for justice, standing up for truth was something that propelled you forward in life. And unfortunately, that's not true anymore. Standing for hedonism, standing for corruption, standing for immorality will put you further in life, financially, materialistic wise. You'll have more friends and things like that. I remember when as a kid, there were some kids that I would consider lame and uncool because they weren't going hanging out with me smoking pot. They weren't going hanging out with me, skipping school. They were looked upon as being lame. Like, you're not sneaking out in the middle of the night and you're obeying your parents. Who wants to listen? Who wants to be around that guy, right? But as I get older, right, some of those same people are further in life than me. Why? Because they had discipline. And if their discipline wasn't dependent on their parents, they had discipline for themselves because they loved and respected their parents. Unfortunately, my parents, when my family was going through a lot and my parents got divorced and stuff, I didn't have that same discipline. I didn't have that same respect. And that's why whenever I do criticisms about my parents, wallahi, I always stress, hey, I didn't have the best upbringing, but I will always respect that I had them in my life. They did the very best they could. Because giving their situations, their background, with the things that they knew, I don't know if I could have done better. I don't think I've ever been in the past in a place where I would be privileged enough to bring a child into this world and say that would be a good parent with the things I was dealing with back then. I had a lot of growing up to do. So, yeah, that's just the gist of it, man. I mean, I can keep beating away a dead horse, but going to social media right now and just see the defense of debauchery, the defense of all this. And I never thought I would see a day where people literally defend somebody for propagating actual evil. Like, it's freaking crazy. Like, he's not doing it for some Hindu god or some pagan god or something like that. He's actually promoting the devil, like actual evil. And that's why I kind of stepped away from music and entertainment, especially like I used to listen to a lot of rock, punk, and metal, but a lot of the stuff that like the imagery and a lot of the lyrics and what it stands for, I don't really agree with anymore. I can't just sit there and listen to a band named Slayer, you know, with freaking devils and pentagrams and stuff like that. Like, okay, it's edgy, I get it, but like, especially at the time, but no, that's whack, bro. I don't think any of that's cool. I don't think promoting satanic imagery or saying Satan is cool or the devil is cool is cool at all. Even if you don't believe in the devil, then why, just to do that is being conscious, like as a conscious imagery, or like, putting out there, is this something else? It's going to sell you records. So it's not like you're doing this to be rebellious. You're going to sell records about the devil's imagery. I mean, imagine if somebody had Islamic calligraphy, praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They wouldn't get a record deal to save their lives. You know what I'm saying? There was a point where like Christian rock was making a comeback or something like that, but like you're not going to make as much money doing that, even though there's supposedly billions of Christians in the world, right? You're never going to make about that much money doing that compared to selling hedonism, selling debauchery, selling evil. So if I had Nicer says, if you had a son, what would you teach him? What would you teach your daughter? I would teach him the same things, except for one thing, right? Because men and women are different. I would teach my son to be chaste also, but I would teach my son that he's going to be held accountable for everything he does. I'm going to teach my son to all my mistakes in my life as a man, and make sure that he knows that mentorship is the most important thing as a man when you're young. You have to have a mentor. You can't be a lone wolf. That's impossible. You have to go under somebody's wing that has good morals, good fabric, and and surround yourself with peers and friends that are doing the right thing, that want the best for you. Don't just hang out with people that make you feel good. Okay? Because as somebody that suffered from low self-esteem his whole life, one of my biggest flaws was I liked being around people that made me feel good. And the same thing, I like making people feel good. Like just the other day, I went over and bought 2 cinnamon rolls from this restaurant that I ate at. And I was like, oh, these would be great for later on. I kind of have a sweet tooth lately. And then I saw two people at a tea place that they usually go to, and I was just like, and one of them was with her boy. It was her and her boyfriend. I never really know her boyfriend too much or anything like that, or anything like that. But it was like, you know what? I really don't need to eat these. I mean, I don't want to get out of shape or anything like that. Might as well give these away. I gave both of them my cinnamon rolls, man. They were really nice cinnamon rolls. So teaching, that's been my weakness, is wanting to feel good and making people want to feel good. So I'm teaching that's not the most important thing in life. You're going to suffer. Suffering is a part of life, and I'm telling them not to run away from that, because through that suffering, he could build something so important that's going to last forever. You know what I mean? If not this lifetime, it can last generations. If I had a daughter, I would teach her to be chaste. And I would teach her that being a woman is just not about receiving attention. Being a woman is not about sexual gratification. Being a woman is not about being super girly and stuff like that, and wearing makeup and dresses and this, that, and the third. Being a woman is being. I remember being a boy and looking at my sister, and being freaking with my mother, and how comforting and nurturing I felt around them. That was just beautiful. And I was probably, okay, I got Uncle Screwy here. Let me add him. I know he's the one he was here under a different name, but let me add him. Yeah, he's been here before. What up, bro?
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Well, alaikum salam. How's it going?
Well, I did keep my promise and said I'd come by to one of your streams.
I really appreciate that, by the way. You made my day.
I've been listening to your. It's good that I do that, At least I bring some positive vibes to people as much as I can,
I feel you.
I've listened to your stuff, and I was like, kind of intrigued by the title and whatnot. But can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you good, bro.
Okay. Yeah, I was listening to it. Like I'm hearing your passion, your frustrations, and everything. It's good that this is therapeutic. You understand that, right?
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. I'm glad I'm not the only one that kind of feels that way, man. Because like you get sucked in with like kind of how the way things are, and like that's why I was talking about social media, and that's kind of where besides YouTube, I completely divested from social media, because I see stuff that's trending. Like you don't have to have a Twitter account to look what's on Twitter. You can just go on the website and see what's going on, right? In general, and just that's what shocked. Yeah, that's what shocked me. That's what made me start this topic. It was like literally people defending somebody marketing Satanism. Like that's insane. You know what I mean? Like I never thought I would see the day where that's actually something that people defend. Like not even ironically, but like seriously.
If I may say something on that, because I'm a little bit older than you. Or how old are you now?
33.
I'm 38.
Just turned 33.
Are you 87? Yeah. What are you, 87 or 84? Or
88,
baby?
88.
82, baby. Okay. I mean, I've been, because I'm me, not to divulge myself too much about myself, but I've been exposed to a lot of things. I gladly expose myself to a lot of things, so I can understand these things and not be afraid of them. So I know sometimes it gets overwhelming at first, the first time you see things like this, but you should not be shocked by it, and do not let your emotions get the better of you. Your emotions are part of you, but you need to have what they call self-mastery. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Self-mastery.
Yeah, the reason.
But as far as social media goes, there are times like I myself, and there's some people very close to me, very near and dear to my heart. Sometimes there are times where they will just check off, turn off their social media accounts and just be away for a while, just to cleanse themselves of all the stuff that's out there. So that's something you might look into. But as far as you getting on here, just venting and talk about this stuff, this is why we get onto hangouts like everybody else, because for us it's a place for us to just cleanse ourselves, talk amongst ourselves. It's also a means of therapy when you think about it, brother. And I understand we all have you and I, we may not agree on a lot of things, because we have different experiences and whatnot, being religious or whatnot, because I'm not a Muslim, but I've been around enough Muslims in my lifetime to have some understanding of the religion. And as far as Satanism goes, I know a couple of Satanists personally. and we don't let the religions judge our another. Because when they said that, I said, okay, I'm all right with that. Doesn't bother me. I'm not afraid of it. So if they're, but you have to understand them from their perspective. We cannot be too judgmental about them. What I mean is, you have to know what they're about before you quick to judge. Just enough to understand what they're about, and if they're about that, then you can decide to no longer be involved with them. Walk away with your sanity. As far as your kids, like what you said, as far as what you said about kids, is like, dude, if you're gonna teach your kids, anything, first of all, you need to take the time to explain to them the logic and the aspects of what it is. Me, when I was taught about, because I come from a traditional African society, when they taught us,
salam, Hamid. Sorry, I was gonna say it real quick. Shout out my boy.
That's right. When they taught me what I had to do, sometimes I had to question them and say, what is the point of all this? Because I needed to understand the rationale and the logic behind this. So some of them took the time to explain to me why we do certain things, why certain things are done a certain way. That way you have a greater appreciation. Sometimes when somebody's teaching me something, I'm trying to understand, why are they teaching me this? Like, if you're going to teach them anything from them, they got to understand your perspective of these things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So to do is a rebuttal, because like I don't want to cut you off, but you're kind of saying a lot right now. So I'm trying to before I lose my thoughts. I'm a person that, like, if I think of something, I lose it forever. You know what I'm saying?
I understand that. I understand that.
Yeah. So from your first point, I understand what you said about don't get upset. And the reason I think I'm so upset right now is because, like, I don't know if you saw this part of the stream, but I played in like metal and hardcore bands. Actually, ironically, I was, and I kid you not, if I was in a hardcore punk band, I kid you not, this is gonna blow you guys' mind. I was in a hardcore punk band called Allah's Infinite Justice, and I was an atheist then. But we named ourselves that to troll people, because people were like, they thought we were a terrorist group, and we had like an AK-47 with like the crescent star in the background. That was our banner, and we were like trolling people. I kid you not, bro. You might be able to still find ourselves on MySpace. Go on MySpace, type in like A.I.J, abbreviated. You might be able to find us. I kid you not.
I once drew a crescent moon, and instead of a star, I put a cross next to it, because I wanted to symbolize the harmony between the two religions, to find the common ground between this instead of the hate.
Yeah, I feel you.
I mean, there are times. I mean, I have once drawn pentagrams sometimes, because I'm trying to understand, what is this symbol all about? What is this about? And not to divulge, but I can't go any further than that, because I end up doxing myself. But
yeah,
I understand what you mean, the fear. Oh, by the way, what you said about like religious calligraphy, have you forgotten Lupe Fiasco, one of his albums, the cover, the way he wrote everything? The words were in English, but they look like Arabic calligraphy.
Yeah, and I know he's Muslim too. So yeah, I've always been a big fan of his music.
Superstar was one of my favorite songs.
Yeah. So like, I was also gonna say, like, I played with bands that like were like, they're labeled like black metal and stuff. And black metal, a big thing about it, you would think black metal like black people, but no, there means something else. It's black metal.
I know some metal heads, and I was introduced. And when I came to Norway, one of the things they introduced me to was a documentary called the
Lords of Chaos.
Metal Headbangers Guide by a gentleman named Samuel Dunn.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Because they were talking about Norwegian black metal and everything. So I was like pretty so I was like, okay, this is what it's about. I've also seen like there's an autobiography about a group called Mayhem, who were the founders of Norwegian black metal, and what that was all about. That came out like a couple years ago, and I'm like cautious about that shit, because I remember I went to the old town where I used to live in. It's about an hour's drive from where I am now.
Hey, walaikum salam. Yeah. Sorry to cut you off by bringing him up, Uncle Screwy.
Cheers, brother.
You guys having a good conversation here.
Yeah.
Thanks, fam. Thanks for coming on, dude. Yeah. It's an honor and privilege to have you on, honestly, man. I've been following your channel for a whole bit. Like I said, man, your family, you know what I'm saying? It's good to see a brother, you know what I'm saying, holding it down, raising a family, doing the right thing, you know what I'm saying, and spreading dawah at the same time. I mean, wallahi, bro. Thank you for what you do.
Shukran, Aki. What's it called? I heard you said you was in a punk band, bro.
He was.
Yeah, I was in a couple. I was in two. Actually, three. No, I was in 3 punk bands. I was in one called AIJ, which stood for Allah's Infinite Justice.
Yeah.
I was in a band called God in Uniform. And then I was in a band called Nerd Murder.
All right. What was the discussion about? It's just open discussion.
So basically, I started it off the controversy around the Lil Nas X and what he's been doing lately and stuff, and my thoughts on it.
Man.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, just another brother who signed his soul away to lead the youth astray. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The reason I said it was a cop out what he's doing, Uncle Screwy. This goes to your point, right? Because when you look at black metal, right? Black metal will never be mainstream. Black metal will never be mainstream, and they want it that way. Those people, they're the most craziest people on the face of the earth. They love it.
On the fringe, and they want to stay on the fringe. That's what they are.
Yeah, they want to stay on the fringe. And they know it's not meant for kids. Like black metal bands will never be like, we want little kids at our concerts. Like they will never ever say that whatsoever. Because actually a lot of their shows are actually kind of violent and stuff like that, right?
I know some people who've gone to theirs, and now some of them are parents, and they don't want their kids exposed to that just yet. They're not ready. They want them to understand that when they're old enough to understand that.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
I mean, what do you think? You have the explicit labels on a lot of the albums now. And does anybody remember Dee Snider when he did his congressional hearing?
Yeah.
Regarding censorship and whatnot. Oh.
Yeah.
Talib, is that your kids?
Yeah, I think that is. Yeah, I remember that. But what's funny about that is people thought that was censorship. Looking back, that wasn't censorship per se. It was just labeling it, and people made a big deal about it. And actually, those bands got bigger because of it. So it actually
controversy sells, brother. Controversy sells. I mean, if you're into gaming, you also remember in '94 they started having the ESRB labels as well. Or if you're in Europe, the PEGI or PEGI as it's called. Hang on, I'm sorry, Talib. Can I ask you a question? Honestly,
what's up?
Where you at, first of all?
I'm at my house. Why it's loud, right?
What country are you in? I mean,
I'm in Texas. I'm here with Zaki, man.
I live in Cali. I live in Cali now, but I'm from Texas, though.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I'll
probably be there in a couple of weeks.
I'm in Europe. I'm in Norway, so I'm like kind of confused. I'm not sure where everybody was at, you know. And plus, I hear kids in the background. Must be a lot of.
I just came home. I was working, doing some landscaping.
Well, how old is the kid? How old is the little one?
My youngest is what? I think 8 months now. Screaming right
now. Wallahi, bro. Wallahi. That's beautiful, man, to hear the screams of a child, though, bro. You know what I'm saying? It reminds us when we were that age.
Oh,
exactly. It gets frustrating when you become a parent. I don't have kids myself, but I'm empathetic to a lot of people and their frustrations sometimes with having children. Because
it's funny you say that. Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say
it's the joys and the pains that comes with it with parenthood. You know, you got the joys, but you got the pains that come with it.
But I just want to give you guys some dawah real quick, because it's funny he says that. Like it's cool to hear the child in the background, the sounds of a child, because I don't know if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said it, but it says there will come a time where you won't. When you make salat and you won't hear babies crying or laughing in the background, and that's the generation you should fear.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm Christian, and I remember in the Bible it says there'll come a time where parents will fear their children.
Yeah,
bro, that's real.
Muhammad said that there will come a time where children will be filled with rage and aggression. And that's kind of like right now. You see how kids be raging out on Fortnite.
No. I'll tell you what's even crazy, bro. Did you guys see on the news? It was like these girls. I think it was in Chicago. They were 13, they're 15, and they tried to rob a Uber Eats driver. He was a Muslim. His name was Muhammad Anwar, and the brother was trying to escape. He was trying to escape, and on his way escaping, he got in a car crash and he died. And the girls, they were on Instagram Live. They were on Instagram Live, recording the whole thing. and they didn't even care. They saw a car crash. They didn't even care to go check on the brother. They were concerned about their cell phones because their cell phones were stuck in the car because he drove off with their cell phones. They were more concerned about their cell phones than the man's life.
You gotta understand they're 13 and 15. I'm not excusing what they did, but understand they're 13, 15. Like, you know, Talib is his right to shake his head like that, but they're 13 and 15. Do you think they have the capacity for empathy at that age?
I did. I remember when my dog died. I was destroyed.
Yeah, but
I remember
to a perfect stranger,
died.
to a perfect stranger, to somebody who's a perfect stranger.
It doesn't matter. If I can have empathy for an animal, why can't I have empathy for a human being?
Some people do not have that capacity sometimes. That's what I'm trying to say. And some people just, there's a disconnect. We have to understand that there's some kind of
people watch cartoons. People watch cartoons. They watch cartoons. You ever watch cartoons as a kid or watch movies as a kid, and then you felt some type of way when your favorite character died and you didn't know them? They were complete strangers.
Yeah, because we're emotionally invested in the character as a child.
Yeah,
we understand that shit. But some people, they wanted to do something that horrendous. They're like, they have the impulse, but not the control or the long-term thinking to realize, or the conscience at that time to realize, no, this is not a good idea. Some people don't understand wrong or right. Some people are taught not.
Man, 13, 15, you know, if you know, like, look, in Islam, this is why I agree with that, because I used to be a Christian, but I agree with Islam more. As a Christian, they say that kids get a pass up to a certain age because they make it to heaven automatically because they don't know any better. But this is not true, because nowadays you see kids that listen to their teachers and authority figures in the community more than they listen to their parents. So they know right from wrong. Why are they listening to people outside of the household more than their parents?
There's some people who they're willing to. There's some people they give authority to, and the others they don't. Like they. But
that's what I'm saying. So a child doesn't get a free pass as far as Christianity is concerned. This doesn't make sense. Islam makes sense.
I wasn't talking about it from a religious aspect.
No. But what I'm trying to say is because you said that there'll
come a time where
the 13 and 15-year-old. You said the 13 and 15-year-old may not have the capacity to have empathy, but they do. They know
or impulse control there.
Nah, they know what they signed up for, man. They wanted to rob the guy, man.
I can't defend that because I know when I was 13 and 15. I know when I was 13 or 15, bro.
But there was girls, right? So I'm sure they got a sense of entitlement. They grew up with a sense of entitlement, so that's a problem. Or maybe I'm.
Yeah, definitely. When I was 13, 15, bro, I was scrapping all the time.
Yeah,
I was scrapping. I was getting fights all the time.
If that's the case, let me rephrase what I was trying to say. If I, because I get confused sometimes. Like, I'm like, we got to see the whole. We got to look deeper into what is going on here. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to say. Maybe I'm just not wording it right.
Oh, I blame the parents. Because I do think parents do have a big part of it.
Hold them accountable. Don't blame them because that's just wasted energy. Hold them accountable.
Society, like we can get back to Little Nas X.
Yeah.
That's the influencer.
I know, but let's not use the blame game because that's Iblis's favorite game.
It's the society, though. It's society.
Yeah.
Society
what I mean.
It's really not a human. It's really not a human. It's what because we both believe in Satan or Shaitan, however you want to say it. It's a society.
I ain't got no problem. It's cool. I understand.
Yeah. I was saying. I also wanted to know if you saw the bit where I was just like, crap. It was basically like how you're talking about individualism, right? And we live in the West, we're an individualistic society. And granted, hey, I benefit from it, right? I benefit. There's America in particular. The reason it's declining. Don't get me wrong, but it's a superpower. And the reason it's a superpower is because of the sense of hyper individualism, right? Individual freedom, and individual rights surpass the rights of society, right? That's what America is. That's what the Constitution is. Your individual rights as a person matter more than the individual rights of society, right? Or the society as a whole. That's what communism is. Like communism is about the rights of the many overweigh the few, right? That's the exact opposite of it, right? So we live in a society
over individuality. Collectivism versus individuality. That's the I honestly think there's got to be like a balance in between because there's got to be a way where we can all coexist mutually. And whatever one's doing does not harm any other one, or it's maybe that we can find like mutual benefits. You know what I'm saying?
Then we would have to turn to Islamic law.
Well, that may not work for everybody. You got to understand that. You know?
Why not?
I don't know. It's just.
What do you know about Islamic law?
No, what I'm saying is like, sometimes it's like, not everybody's going to be a Muslim. We all have a choice, right?
No. It's not about being Muslim.
But the Islamic law, I don't know.
Islamic law has nothing to do with being Muslim. It's just the law of submitting to the Creator, and what was implemented to live in peace, harmony, love, justice, equality, freedom. That's it.
I grew up in the Middle East, and I do have my experiences with that. So I've had some bad experiences. So
yeah, I've had bad experiences here. I'm a Christian, man. I was locked up in a federal penitentiary, man. You know how do you think there's more Muslim
first of all,
in the United States system or Christian?
Zaki, can you explain to brother about what I am? Because I'm not African American.
Oh, he's Eritrean, and he grew up in a East Orthodox Christian.
That's fine. What I'm trying to say is, yeah, you had your experience in the Middle East.
My understanding of that. My understandings of all that. So I can't. You understand? I'm going to be a little skeptical about that.
Yeah,
I'm going to be skeptical.
That, but
just like some people, some places they want to impose the 12 commandment law on certain places. I'm like, hey, wait a minute.
Well, as a Christian here, I'm like, wait a minute, because the people that are incarcerated mainly here in the United States, what religious group is mainly incarcerated is the Christian group.
Yeah. And let's not forget mass incarceration, 3 strikes laws, and everything. The prison system.
Right. What I'm trying to say is, coming from a minority background here in the United States, and Christianity being my focal point of guidance growing up, more brothers end up in jail when they grow up with Christianity than they do with Islam.
Given how
hey, you know what? Yeah, I really can't argue. I really can't argue with that, bro. Because I grew up. This is going to be anecdotal. This is going to be a little anecdotal, but if you actually did the studies, they probably could prove it too, bro. Like even guys that necessarily they wouldn't be Orthodox Muslims, like traditional Sunnis, like the Nation of Islam. Yeah. I never met any kid whose parents grew up in the Nation of Islam that were getting in trouble. I never met anybody's parents who were like Muslim who was in and out of jail and stuff like that. If that's something that they did, it was something they did when they left the house and they went out and they moved away. Like I met a lot of Muslims, especially immigrant families,
and bad experience, and came across bad influences.
Yeah, when their family came here, I literally met somebody that was born. I was born and raised in a Muslim country, and she was raised in a Muslim country until she was like in high school. She came over to America, and then she lost her mind. You know, you know what I'm saying? You know, that's what happens here. You know,
cultural shock and whatnot. Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying as far as what you see with Islam in the Middle East and stuff like that. But you got to understand, man, just if you live in the United States, man, you'll see it in Christian, man. Like people wear Jesus pieces.
I'm not surprised. I've been there a few times. So I understand. But
you know what I'm saying?
Understand, I have my reservations on certain things. I'm
right, but I'm just talking about Islamic law, the same law that Jesus implemented.
Sharia, but I'm just saying, it's like there's got to be like that balance. But as an individual, you got to find that balance within yourself as well as the society. So I'm like,
because as Americans, I think the one thing as Americans that I kind of think of, and I've been trying to deconstruct this thought process for a while.
Because I'm in Europe, and they do have individuality, but they also know to like try to balance that with collectivism.
Yeah, not so much Islam though.
We're getting to a point right now because of one person. Literally, they're trying to do a thing where, because let's say I identify as a gender that doesn't even exist, right? Legally, especially New York. New York actually passed a law where misgendering somebody is a fine. You have to pay somebody damages for misgendering somebody, even though
it was an honest mistake. Even if it were an honest mistake.
If they feel like it was malicious and that you did it on purpose, it doesn't matter if it was a mistake or not. Like, you shouldn't fall to pieces because I called you a man and you look like a grown ass man. I'm sorry. That's like if somebody called me light skinned. Somebody called me light skinned. Am I going to lose my mind? Oh, I'm not light skinned. How dare you? You know what I'm saying? I know I'm not light skinned because that's
welcome to the world of absurdity. That's all I can say. Welcome to Absurdistan, as somebody once said. No, but they were talking about Sweden, of course. Because things were getting absurd over there. It's like absurdity.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, Sweden's losing his freaking mind, and
Good
I
point.
met a lot of Swedish YouTubers being like, bro, like YouTube is the only place where I can speak my mind because there's a lot of stuff over there. They don't have the same freedom of speech that you have in the U.S. and stuff like that. Like you can't just say certain things about certain topics because like you actually will lose like your job, like straight up, even if it's not so controversial. And just be like, you know, I don't really agree with this or that. You know, it's this kind of community, what they do, like, boom. And we already know what communities we're talking about.
I live next door, and we see that shit, and we're just grateful we're not like them.
Yeah.
Because they understand what the hell, but they understand the importance of free speech. Because I remember, was it like, are you familiar with what happened like in July 22nd, 2011?
Well, how important is free speech when? I'm sorry, but
no, go ahead. No.
My man here said, a country in Europe and the United States, they understand the freedom of speech.
No, because what I said was like, after what, like, if you guys understand, like, July 22nd, 2011, there was like this huge attack that happened in Oslo.
All right.
The mass shooting. Oh yeah, I know about that. That guy. That's terrible. That guy is.
You know what the prime minister did? You know what the prime minister said in his speech afterwards? He said, "We're not going to cower from this. We're not going to start censoring people. We're going to enforce more censorship. No, less censorship, more expression, more rights for everyone. Because we're not going to let terror compromise who we are or our principles." Because the thing was, it was like Nietzsche said, like, when you're fighting the monster, you must preserve your own self so you don't become the monster.
So what do they do? So they allow you to express yourself through freedom of speech, and then they take away your weapons?
They don't. They can't take away guns here. Besides, most guns owners here are either licensed hunters or members of gun clubs.
Oh,
so have the same. Yeah. But they have. But the thing with. But you have. So you don't have the right to bear arms. I can carry a weapon if I'm going to a gun club, or if I'm going hunting. But there are a lot of.
You have one in your home.
As long as I put it in a safety box, and I prove that I have a membership to a gun club.
Oh, so you have a right to bear arms?
Per se, somewhat. It's not clear cut, dude. It's not black and white. There's a lot of nuance you gotta understand. Like, remember. I remember, was it like, you know, everything's fluid. Humans are fluid. There's a lot of nuance among us. We're not all, you know, good. We're not all bad. There's a lot. We're a little mix of in betweens. There's a little bit of us that, you know.
I'm not good. I'm not good. The only one that is good is the one that is in heaven. But I'm out of here, yo. I gotta go.
Come back again, really, please, brother. You know what I'm saying?
All right, man.
If I don't see you during Ramadan, Ramadan Mubarak.
It's Ramadan Kareem.
I'll see you guys, man. I'll definitely see you guys.
Yeah, word.
Peace, brother. Right. Hey, make sure that little kids, them babies are good.
Oh, they're good, man. They're quiet now.
Yeah, I know they've been quiet.
I got them quiet right now, but I gotta go get ready for tomorrow. So you guys have a good one, man. All right, peace.
Later.
Good brother.
Yeah, man, dude, that guy's awesome, man. Hey, anybody that's watching, please check out his channel.
That's a strong will right there. When you teach your kids to be strong, you got to be prepared for them when they start to impose their will against you, because you raise them to be like that. Be like, I raised them to be strong-willed. I did good. Sometimes some parents forget that because there's that time where parents still need to control their kids, keep that structure in them.
Yeah, and I feel like a thing too is as a culture and social media gets big, one thing I think is dangerous is there was always pressure for like peer pressure, right, to fit in. But now, bro, it's like so much to point, like, even like, let's say I meet somebody, right? And this could be regardless of what gender they are, they could be somebody I get along with, right? This is like when I used to date, right? When I used to date, I would meet a girl, right? And I'd be like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Well, do you come here often? Yada, yada, yada. If I said that I didn't have an Instagram or a Facebook, she looked at me like I was a serial killer. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? You don't have social media? You know what I'm saying? And we're reaching a point right now because people will judge people based upon their social media, and what they're looking for is somebody that's like super like them. Like, they have to have everything in common with them. They had to be a clone of them pretty much, you know? And this is sense like
that in my homeland, and I understand the dangers of groupthink sometimes. That's the dangers of groupthink right there. That is the
Mhm.
dangers of groupthink. As far as social media goes, I do not use Instagram because I remember in 2012 when Facebook purchased it, they did say something about they would no longer recognize people's intellectual property.
Yeah, that's true. All your
That's why
photos and stuff do not belong to you.
exactly. That's why I don't mess with that stuff. I was called because I remember I got a younger sibling who's on it, but he's well disciplined with it because we all know the dangers of social media. You know, I mean, I can still remember a time before social media. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can too, and that's what's
Can
so
you
crazy,
remember a
bro. I
time
remember
without internet?
I remember when
Can
I
you remember?
oh yeah, dude. I remember when the internet first came on, we had America Online. And well, you couldn't use
Dial up.
the house phone because nobody had cell phones. Yeah,
Dial
dial
up,
up.
of course.
Nobody had cell phones, right? Nobody had cell phones, so everybody had to let somebody know, hey, I'm going to get on the internet. You know what I'm saying? We used to use that excuse like when this is so funny, when we used to skip school, right? Because they would call our house right afterward, right? And we knew what time that they called our house, we would get right on the internet. So they couldn't get hold of our parents because nobody had cell phones back then, you know?
Lucky for you, I had to make. They took attendance every day on those if we skipped school because if we missed like a certain number of days, we'd have to repeat a certain number of days of school. We'd have to repeat the year. Is what they tell us. So we weren't
Oh yeah,
messing
bro.
around with that.
Bro, I'm not proud
We
of
weren't
this. I was
messing.
such a bad kid in high school, bro. Like my senior year of high school, I used to skip so much that I actually ended up having to spend my last semester in a charter school so to get accredited fast enough to graduate on time. Because like they found it, they're like, hey, you skipped so many days of school because I was working a job and I lived out away from my parents, right? Like me and my dad, we didn't get along. I moved out my dad's house after we had a fight. So I was living over at a friend's place. I was literally sleeping on somebody's couch every day, and I was going to high school and stuff like that. On top of
Yeah, it was
having
a
a
messed
job.
up circumstance. You were in messed up circumstances. It was what it was.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
was a tough time. It was a tough time. I've had times when I was younger when I'd be like I was like just angered, frustrated, but I stayed in school because I figured as long as I keep my grades up, my parents wouldn't be on my case so much. But we all had our problems with our parents at one time or another. It is what it is. I ain't
Yeah,
mad about
bro.
that.
Yeah. And that's why sometimes, when you look in retrospect, that's why, like, whenever I criticize my parents, I always kind of go out of my way to be like, but hey, at the end of the day, I still love them. And I realize they did the best they can because I know people that had complete crap parents. Like, they have parents, like, at least I know who my dad is. Dude, I have friends like don't even know who their dad is. Their mom was like getting around and got knocked up with some random guy at a party.
Well,
That's how
I'm from a 2-parent household, so I'm good.
Yeah, me too.
But the thing was, is like with my, like everybody else, I didn't know my father's situation until my mother took the time when I was dealing with my head. When I finally came to terms with my mental health issues, when I was finally got my initial diagnosis, I had a long talk with coming from African traditional society, we have like the social stigmas of it, which are leftovers from colonialism. And I remember having a talk with my mother, and she was like explaining to me about what my father was like when he was growing up, his perspective. And when being in the empath I was, I realized, oh, I see. Now I understand why he is the way he is.
Mm-hmm.
So, because you have to understand what were your parents like before? Because they weren't like this. Something about the way they were raised affected them in a way, and that they passed that on to you inadvertently. They wanted to become better parents. Some realizing how bad their upbringing was, they want to raise their kids to be better.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes they forget they don't know how.
Yeah,
So
bro.
it does mess up. That's why it's always important for young men. It's not just enough to have a father. I mean, you need to have your uncles and everybody in your family. Uncles,
Definitely.
older mentors, they need to like prepare you for life. Just like like when an elephant leaves the herd of his mother and his aunts and everyone, he has to go out in the wilderness on his own. But when he's out there, he's going to be aggressive, violent, just unruly as hell. That's why an older bull will see him like, "Hey, young man, come here." What you doing out here? All right. It's your first time. Your first time alone, huh? All right, come with me. Come with me. So it's just like, because like among the elephants, bulls are solitary.
Mm.
So when a young bull leaves the herd of his mother, she's going to be like unruly. There's always going to be an older male nearby who looks at him and say, "Hey, come here, come with me," and he's going to teach him and show him the ropes and mentor him, so he learns to be more like, learns how to use that aggression properly. And that's why we
That's
need
beautiful,
mentors.
bro. That's so beautiful. You
But-
know what? You know why I say that? Because we as human beings, we love to put down animals, and animals seem like they're even more civilized than us. Like animals have enough common sense to realize that that's something to do. Like human beings, we literally like throw kids to the freaking alligators and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
the thing
literally
is because of poaching, you're going to start seeing young bulls who are just unruly because they don't have mentors or the older males to pull them aside, mature males to pull them aside, and sometimes they get rowdy and they get aggressive and they sometimes attack other animals. Like we see how many rhinos get attacked by young bulls who are just still immature and not have nobody to teach them how to be mature about it.
Yeah, bro, that's some real stuff, man. And
That's
hey, and earlier you
does.
mentioned. Yeah, you mentioned your mental health journey, and first off, I'd like to say that, man, as somebody that recently, like not even 2 months ago, I had a nervous breakdown. I actually was in an inpatient at a mental facility for a week. I truly have my heart out for you, bro. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, and my heart goes out to you, man. Every day, I oh crap. Again, he just dropped off by accident in connection. But this goes out to anyone, anybody that's going through mental health issues, man. I think I've always had issues my entire life. And then that moment was a catalyst a little while ago. And wallahi, I'm really grateful that I was in a safe place and that I was clear enough of a mind to know that I need to get help. Unfortunately, a lot of our people don't do that. Like, this is human beings across the world. It's not just black people, whatever, right? Especially men. We internalize so much as men because of the demands that society has for us, the demands we have for ourselves, our shortcomings and stuff, and we just pile on all this baggage. And when we feel like we don't have a purpose in the right direction in life, sometimes that takes us to the wrong direction. Wallahi, bro. And I gotta say this, man, if it wasn't for my faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I wouldn't be here right now. Because when I was in disbelief that night, if that would have happened that night when I was in a state of disbelief, I would have done something I regret for the rest of my life. Got Uncle Screwy back. Hold on, let me back on. Wallahi. Yeah, sorry, man. I guess it might be your connection, man.
My computer.
Yeah, because I need you to stream and then it pulls you in and out, pulls you in and out. You know what I'm saying?
It's cool. It's cool. Oh, that's how a Christian where I come from says Alhamdulillah.
Oh, okay. What up?
Hey, it's all. Hey, you'd be surprised when you guys hear us when we're saying like in the name of the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. It sounds like a Muslim saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim because it's a Semitic language at the end of the day. But how was your recovery? You came back. You had a nervous breakdown, hospitalized and everything.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I was hospitalized, bro. And what triggered it was something that happened at work. There was a conversation that happened at work. And
have you been checked for PTSD or something like that?
Well, at the time they checked me out and stuff. So they said that this is coming from them. They said basically I suffer from manic depression and stuff. So yeah, because like I have my manic phase. Like I appreciate like if you see some of my older streams, like I had my manic phase where I was like super energetic and I was streaming all the time. Like that's why you notice if you look at my older videos, I was like streaming sometimes 2-3 times a day. That was like my manic phase. And then I would have my depression stage where I wouldn't do anything. I would literally just lay in bed all day, you know?
Okay, you're bipolar, type 1 bipolar. Okay. Because I know somebody.
I just for transparency reasons, I take Zoloft. So,
I was when I got my diagnosis, I have like what's called BPD, borderline personality disorder, and initially they thought I may have been bipolar because they had put me on like antipsychotics for a while. It didn't help much, but it was like Risperdal is what they gave me. But I understand how that shit hurts. I can understand the trauma, how hard it is, just to live with that shit.
Yeah, bro. And I wish I got help sooner because I think I would be in a completely different space in my life. But the way I was raised and things like that, they kind of were like. And then also, don't get me wrong, bro. I'm gonna be honest. Big pharma and the history of the psychiatric community does not help also because they do a lot of shady stuff. Like when I found out they were going to give me Zoloft, I was so scared, bro. And honestly, that first week where I took Zoloft was the worst week of my life.
Well,
that was the worst week of my
life. When they put me on medication, it was just for a temporary time. Just they gradually weaned me off it. But the withdrawal was painful. The withdrawal was so painful because I remember having like an emotional anxiety attack and outburst, but I realized, oh no, it's just my mind just cleansing itself of all that mess that I was under.
Bro, yeah, and I don't want to be under this anymore. And I'm gonna be honest, the only reason I'm taking it is because it's covered by my insurance right now, and things like that is the only thing they'll cover for. But I'm gonna get new insurance next year, and I'm gonna invest in ask my new insurance company if they cover CBD. And I want to use CBD as an alternative. I don't want to stick to this. Yeah. So yeah, I want to. Yeah.
I will say, but then again, it's like because you manic depressive.
Yeah, because basically my job, basically the reason they said that their insurance won't cover is because they say, oh, if you do CBD, that means that you're smoking weed, and we won't know the difference essentially. And for this job, you can't do drugs, so. That's the way. So that's the way they approach this. They're like, we won't cover it.
That's the way the cookie crumbles, I guess.
Yep. So
hey, at least we're starting to. This is therapeutic though. Like Black Ram will say, this is therapeutic, man. You ever listen to Black Ram?
I haven't listened to Black Ram in a whole minute, but yeah, I subscribe to his channel. Yeah.
It's been a while since I listened to stuff, but yeah, it's very therapeutic. Just like BGS and stuff is like, because we all come together. Like what we said, like guys come together, we come together. Like Patrice O'Neal said, we come together and build together.
Exactly.
We exchange each other. We help. You learn something from me that might be useful to you. I learn something from you that might be useful to me, and everything.
Facts, bro. That's why, dude. I love BGS's late night stuff, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like that's awesome. We were just cracking on millennials the entire time. That's funny because he's an older dude. You know what I'm saying? I never thought in my entire life I would agree with the old man. I was super rebellious as a kid, bro. So my whole life I was just like, man, I'm never gonna agree with the old man. Like, you know what I'm saying? But like as I get older, man, I kind of see where he's coming from.
Well, me personally, I got a soft spot for old dudes since I was a kid because I didn't really have a grandfather, so I was like really attached to older men because they were like really mentoring me a lot. I was like around because my dad wasn't always. It wasn't like he wasn't there. It was like there were times where he couldn't be there for me. So anyway, like I had older, like some of my teachers were really insightful to me. They woke me. They planted seeds in my head that came out that eventually sprouted into some wisdom and whatnot. Damn, man, you're going back to the 80s with your hairdo. And everything.
Yeah, man. I pick it out. If I pick it out, it's a little bit bigger, and if my part is not defined, I got my part right here. Oh wait, no, other side. Yeah, I got my part right here. So when I want to like comb my thing, it's like an Afro comb over. Like it comes over as big, and it's like a pie top, but it comes this way.
Comb over.
Yeah, I got an Afro comb over, bro. Yeah.
But yeah, it was like I said, hey, regarding your mental health and shit, have you checked into your family history by any chance?
Bro, so with a lot of Black people in America, mental health is a really taboo thing. So there's obvious signs that there's been a history in my family,
it's not just Black folks in America. It's with Black folks in parts of Africa, dude, all over.
Yeah,
we've been taught to be shameful of it.
Yeah, and of course nobody sought help. Especially like back in the day, like a lot of them, they were like working class. Working class people in general don't go seek mental health. Like working class people all over the world, no matter if you're black, white, whatever.
Not to mention shock therapy and all the kinds of things that were in psychiatric wards and whatnot. That scared them. That deterred them from going to get help.
Yeah.
Not to mention like the stigma of it. So.
Oh yeah, like black people were like, we went through African people too. We went through so many traumatic things it's kind of funny how we internalize, oh, just get over it. Like, you don't get over colonialism, you don't get over slavery, you don't get over civil wars, you don't get, that's something you just don't get over, right? You know what I'm saying? Like,
wars, atrocities at the hands of colonizers and whatnot, tit for tat battles, genocides. Like,
dude, I'm actually watching a video, a movie called Novecento. It's an Italian film that came out in the 70s. It's one of Robert De Niro's earliest films. Okay. And basically it's about the rise of fascism in Italy. And I know you guys were colonized by the Italians, dude. Those Italian fascists were nothing to play with, bro. Those guys were some evil people.
The weird thing was they weren't anti-Semitic, though. They had a lot of...
Yeah. Hitler actually pressured them to be anti-Semitic, and they didn't start the Holocaust until they were already losing the war. Like, they didn't start the Holocaust in the 40s.
A lot of people don't know this, but Eritrea was like was a haven for a lot of them. Some, if they could not make it to Europe or South America, some would flee to Eritrea.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of them. This was like in the 30s. A lot of them were migrating there for safety. In fact, was it like the British when they took over after defeating the Italians in the East African theater in 41? A lot of the Zionist armed gangs, like the Haganah and whatnot, it's like, for example, late Prime Minister Yitzhak Shamir, when he was a POW, or like David, what's his name, Moshe Dayan, when they were captured by the British when they were rebelling, they were sent to penal colonies in Eritrea, but they were brought back afterwards just to help in the fight against the Nazis.
Well, that's crazy. I didn't know that, man. I'll look more into that history, man. And by the way, I'm sorry I have to end this, man. Well, I've been streaming for a minute. I got to get a workout on. I got to get workout on before I get ready to go to bed. And then it's a little past Maghrib, and Issa's coming up too, so I got to get my prayer on. So, hey, bro, you're welcome here anytime, fam. Dude, if you get a channel started up, man, we should collab. I'll send you emails and stuff like that. We can do streams together, bro. Let's get this popping, bro, because like the way that BGS, his platform is, that's kind of how I want it to be. I just want late nights where I just like freaking have open topics. We just go with the flow. If I can get more than just a couple people in here, you know what I'm saying? Like if I can get 4 people in at a time, that would be pretty cool.
Well, we all start small, don't we?
Yeah, exactly.
We all start somewhere. Anyway, Zach, it's good to hear from you. Good to see you doing okay.
Yeah, good to see you too, Uncle Screwy, man. Take care, and we're all brothers of the same God at the end of the day, man. So you're in my prayers, bro. Have a good one, bro.
You're in my prayers as well. Stay safe to everyone. Good night, everybody.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Take care.
Take care.